So I see slowly people are joining. We're waiting a little bit until everyone is entered the chat, but it's nice to see already so many participants here. So please mute you if you're not muted yet, and we're gonna start soon. We're waiting until we're about 45 people, but I guess we're gonna start like in 2-3 minutes. It's possible that some of them maybe join later or watching the live stream on YouTube.
Sure.
It's like
Cool.
So if you're not muted yet, please mute you. So I guess 2 minutes more and then we're gonna start. Thank you for being on time. Okay, so there hasn't been anyone that joined lately, so I think we're ready to start. Well, my name is Selim. I'm from ESAG, LC Zurich, and I'm happy to see so many faces here at the Hackathon Sky is the Limit. And we're glad that we can organize this hackathon. Of course, we hope to have it live, but yeah, 2020 is a quite interesting year, and we're slowly getting used to it, to having everything online. But we still want really to organize this event and hope to bring some joy into your life. So let's start with the most important, like the agenda, what's gonna wait for you during this hackathon. So today, now we're in the introduction and welcome part, which is gonna last approximately 45 minutes. Then you're gonna get also introduction into the task, and for the ones that didn't apply as a team, you get a chance to meet your teammates. And then at 22:02, we officially gonna start the hackathon. Until then, it would be important that you send your NDA to the Slack, where you have to write the obtain data account. If you don't do that, you're not going to receive the password for the data. So it's really important that you actually send the NDA. Then you're going to have time to get into the task, read about it, and if there are some open questions, you have from 2:45 until 3:15 time to ask your questions. There's also going to be a short introduction to the bonus task. And then for the ones that are not too familiar with Azure and how to use cloud computing, there's a session from Microsoft for half an hour where we're going to introduce Azure. Then it's time for you to shine and hack. And then you, of course, going to get hungry, and there's a little surprise waiting on your doorbell at around 7:30. And we're going to eat together something, but you're going to see what it's going to be. And then the time to hack and hack it happen is going to start. And you're going to have time until Saturday morning to hack. And then you're probably going to have a sore back, or your neck going to be a little bit stiff. And we have a fun activity for you organized for them. There's going to be a yoga session and some energizers that you're ready for the final phase of the hackathon. You also got a longer introduction to the bonus task. For the ones that have already finished with the previous task, there's additional points to win in the bonus task. And then at 4 p.m. on Saturday, there's going to be a short deadline where you have to submit your files. And be aware that you have to upload multiple files. It can take some time until you have all files prepared. So start early enough with preparing the submissions. Then after the deadline, there's going to be some time for you to prepare the pitches. And after 1 hour of preparing, every team has a 5-minute session. So actually, it's not a 5-minute pitch. You're going to have 3 minutes for your pitch, and then we're going to stop you more or less. And then there's going to be a question session for 2 minutes approximately for each team. So your team has 5 minutes, but only 3 minutes pitch, and then some questions. And then we hope that we are on schedule to announce the winners at around 7:10 until 7:30. And afterwards, probably all going to be a little bit tired and hungry. And we prepared some virtual apero in the bags, which you might already have received or should receive in the next couple of hours. So that's from my side. I'm going to give the word to our PR representative, Henriette from LC Zurich. So,
Hello. Yeah, as Salem already said, I'm Henriette, and I will introduce you quickly to the organizer, eTech LC Zurich. You probably all heard of it by now, but I will just give you some more details who we are. So eTech LC Zurich stands for Electrical Engineering Students European Association, Local Committee Zurich, and our aim is to build an international network and to encourage the exchange of ideas and friendships among technical students all around Europe. And our cultural, but mostly also academic events, such as workshops and hackathons, are perfect opportunities for you to gain more knowledge in a certain field, but also to develop and improve your academic, professional, and social skills. And overall, eTech has, next slide, sorry. Overall, eTech has about 55 committees in 28 countries with more than 4,000 students all over Europe. It's a really great opportunity or association to get to know other students from all over Europe. And for you to also get a picture of what I just said and to visualize get some visualized impressions of eTech, you can see some photos, and maybe you can also guess that some events are more cultural orientated, but there are also really interesting academic orientated events. And if you have any questions, don't ask to text me on Slack, or also ask during the fun activities in the evening, I will be there. I will not join your hacking. But yeah, feel free to ask if you want more information about eStack. Perfect.
Thank you, Henriette. So now I give the word to our sponsors.
Great. Thank you, Selim and Henriette. Now you get the possibility to meet the sponsors. My name is Simal. I'm from IPT. I work at IPT since March 2019 in the HR team. And a few of you guys I already met yesterday personally, as Selim and I handed out the goodie bags to you. So it was a very pleasure and I hope you enjoy the goodies. The second sponsor is the Federal Department of Foreign Affairs, the EDA. He's also the challenge provider, the NLP challenge that you will get more information afterwards. And also Amazon, AWS, Microsoft Azure, Google, and NLP Meetup Zurich. They are also sponsors. Google is sponsored because of the goodies you get in the goodie bag, and Azure and AWS, they provided the vouchers for you guys. Great. Next slide. Oh, okay. So now I will give you a quick introduction to IPT. If you don't know us yet, now you will. So this is a picture with all IPT consultants. We are around 150 people. And here we are last year at our event in Nizza. This is a very great event where we are for 4 days abroad, and we do some workshops, but also a lot of fun. And because we are a technical IT consulting company, and our mission is to make technology valuable for our customers. Exactly. Next slide. A little bit of facts and figures. As I told before, we are 150 team players. IPT is almost 25 years old, but still we have the startup drive. And I think that because of our people, because they have this drive, they are very collaborative. Oh, I can't see the presentation. One moment, please. Okay, great. They have this drive, they are collaborative, adventurous, reliable, and very optimistic. And that's what IPT stands for. We have also a big share in women, and consulting and IPT is also compatible with for moms and dads, because we are only in the German part of Switzerland, so they don't have a very long travel time. And yes, we have offices in Zurich, Bern, and Zug, because we were founded in Zug. Exactly. And now Mark from IPT, oh no, not Mark, but now you will get to know who from IPT is here today. I already introduced myself, but now I would like to give the word to Mark and the other persons, and they will introduce themselves to you. Mark, we can't hear you.
Thank you very much, Simal. Unfortunately, I just have some technical trouble over here. I logged in via my phone. I hope you can see me right now. Does that work?
Yes, we can see you.
Perfect. So you have an echo. Please don't speak. My name is Mark. I am at IPT for about 3 years now. I studied at University of Zurich, and I graduated in the subject of IT, so data science, and my minor was in finance. And I was very lucky to be on the project at the Federal Department of Foreign Affairs and to do AI topics. We first did a chatbot. Now we did an email triage bot, some very interesting things. So privately, my hobbies are also languages. I love learning languages, have done Mandarin and Russian in the past. And therefore, I love NLP. And I'm very happy that we are organizing this NLP Hackathon. And I'm very curious about the results that are going to come out and what we can use for the email triage challenge at the Federal Department of Foreign Affairs. With that, I would hand over to Stefan.
Is Stefan even here, or shall I take over? Do you know, Simon?
I can't find him, so maybe he will introduce himself.
Maybe he will come later. Okay, so I will take over. I am Vanessa. I've been a consultant at IPT for almost 4 years now, and I graduated at ETH in electrical engineering. So I'm very familiar also with ESTEC. In my first few years at ETH, I was also part of ESTEC. So when Simal asked me to help her organize this hackathon, I was like, yes, definitely. I definitely want to join this. Me personally, for this hackathon, I will be in charge of all the tools. So if you have any questions about Slack, about spatial chat, which I will explain a bit later, or Zoom or anything else, just come to me and ask. Yeah, I think that's about it from me. I hope you will all have fun, and I'm looking forward to some nice hours with you.
So I guess it's my turn. I'm Tobias. I'm at DPT for 4 months now. I'm the youngest member of the HR department at IPT, and I'm here to help you get to know IPT a little bit more and show you what's in for you as prizes after the challenge. And if you have any questions about IPT and what it's like to work at IPT, just come to me and ask. I'm on Slack as well, and I'll be happy to answer your questions.
Okay, hello folks. My name is Valentin. I'm excited to be here today as a mentor. I have an ETH background as well, and for the last 2 years, I've been an IT consultant at IPT. I've been at various projects in our big enterprises in Switzerland. I love NLP, I love the clouds, and I love hackathons, so I'm very excited to be here today. Hit me up with any questions.
Thanks a lot for that, Valentin. So Stefan is a partner at IPT, and he was responsible for our work at the Federal Department of Foreign Affairs. He will later probably also have a chance to introduce himself again. So we are back on the presentation slide, and I want to shortly tell you what IPT is doing. We are in technology consulting, but not only. So we work at the customer side together with the customer, what we call a mixed team. We really have this one team philosophy where we blend in and work together with the customer and try to make the customer and the customer's project shine and turn out very well. So in this mixed team, we are doing technology consulting, but we are also doing hands-on engineering and integration. And sometimes we also do have ID strategy consulting topics where we are able to steer things a bit into the future. So on the next slide, please. We have our 4 focus areas. IPT is very active in AI and data. We do have a lot of AI and data projects, more and more coming in, but we are also doing digital experience. So a lot of people still need digitalization. If you could go back to the last slide again, thank you. We are also doing cloud. So cloud is really a topic that hit Switzerland in 2019. Organizations are going into the cloud since 2019. We do see a large shift there. Microsoft Azure, AWS, and also Google Cloud are a topic. And we are also consulting in agile organizations. So a bit about the structure of how you work together, how you work agile. All that we are doing at IPT. And I would hand over back to Simal.
Okay, can everybody hear me? Okay.
Yes, we do.
Okay, thank you. Next slide. I have not the control right, I think. Maybe now. Okay, great. As I said before, as I mentioned before, most of our consultants are alumni from the universities. Exactly. And that's also the reason why we love to do this hackathon right now with you, because our consultants, they want to give their experience that they have in the industry back to you students, so you can exactly see what the real world challenges are. And that's something that makes us joy. So you can see in these pictures, we are at all universities like ETH, University of Zurich, but also, I don't know how to say, University of Applied Science, like ZHW. And this is the part that makes me personally the most fun to work with you students. Exactly. And on the next slide, you can see our social media accounts. So we would love if you stay in touch with us. So we have LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. You can see our website. We have a YouTube channel. I forgot to mention it here, but yes, that's a great opportunity to stay in touch with you guys. And as you know, in this hackathon, we have very big prizes to win, and Tobias will tell you more about the prizes.
Exactly, as I mentioned before, you're doing this for the hackathon, but you're already also doing this for a few prizes. We have 3 prizes to offer you. We start with the first prize, which is a voucher for adventure rooms. We lock you into a room, and then it's your turn to get out of the room, which is really fun, which I did a few times. This is the first for the 3rd place. For the 2nd place, exactly, it's a voucher to get you flying, to get you up in the air with your body. It's a body flying voucher. There are a few body flying stations in Switzerland which you can join and try to get yourself flying. And the first prize is also up in the air. It's a boarding pass to get flying with our founder of the company, who has a pilot license and will be able to get you and your team up in the air and up in the skies of Switzerland. So I hope you're as excited as we are about these prizes. If I would be able to hack, I would really, really want to win the first prize. So I hope you do as well.
Thanks a lot for that. I have my infrastructure restarted right now. I still hear your microphones. That should be only one microphone right now. Glad we have mobile phones, so we can back up nowadays. Cold restart of my computer hopefully solved the problem. And now I would like to get to FDFA, the Federal Department of Foreign Affairs, which is a customer of IPT as an IT provider, and which has really brought us the data for this challenge, and which really is gonna profit from hopefully more AI in the organization and hopefully automated processes of email triage based on the results that we will see at this hackathon. And from FDFA, the Federal Department of Foreign Affairs, which is responsible, for example, for all the Swiss embassies abroad, but also for other things about foreign affairs of Switzerland. We have here Tommaso, Patrick, and Steve, and I would love to give them their word quickly to introduce themselves. Tommaso, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you, ISTEC and IPT for organizing this event. We are really happy to get this data for you, and we are excited about the solutions you will get for these tasks. My name, Tommaso, already mentioned. I'm a project manager in the FDFA IT. I worked with Mark together, as he said, in the project chatbot, and now for the mailbot. And yes, I'm already since 8 years, I'm working for the FDFA. I started back in the days as help desk, in the help desk. And yes, now I'm working as project manager. So I get the word to Patrick, so he can introduce his.
Hi, nice to meet you all. I'm Patrick. I'm about 2 years at ETA as a system engineer, and therefore Kubernetes, Mailbot, logging infrastructure, deployment, run, and support a huge bunch of applications. Yeah, that's it.
Hello, I'm Steve. I'm a software developer at FDFA. I did my apprenticeship there the last 4 years, and now I am employed for my first job after it as a developer for business applications. I joined the Mailbot team in July, and I'm working on that project with Tommaso, Patrick, and Mark.
Perfect, thank you. So I will get you a short introduction of the FDFA and the project Mailbot. First of all, yeah, the FDFA, we have the Federal Department of Foreign Affairs. What goals we have, we determine and coordinate Swiss foreign policies on behalf of the Federal Council, pursues the set foreign policy objectives, and safeguard Switzerland's national interest and promote Swiss values. The Federal Council, Ignazio Cassis, took office as head of the 1st November 2017. So we have around about 117 different locations which we provide, and 7 different departments. Then I will get you a short introduction to the FDFA. So you have the 7 different departments which we have to support, and also get an introduction to projects. So we have 165 representation abroad, and about 5,000 users or employees which we have to support, around about 6,350 hardware. And the support, we have our own help desk. So there we have 40,000 tickets and 29,000 requests we get every year. And also part of our IT department is the whole logistic and operation. We get organize the move for the diplomatic people who change the representation, as an example, from Brasilia to London and so on. And therefore we have to organize the transport. So that's also a very interesting job we do. And we have around 450 moves per year, and that's a lot of work to do. And on the business application side, we have around 70 applications, and 30 of them are developed internal. Yes, servers, we have also a lot of servers, and the network abroad, we have to check the network for all this representation. All the traffic for the moment goes through Bern, that we can secure the security. So that's short in numbers. What we do, what we have of innovation in the last years, we did the chatbot. So on the French web page of our embassy, we have a chatbot which can give you answer to your consular questions. Then yes, the Mailbot, which you're here today, it's analyze incoming support mails and create automatically tickets. Then we get we are going to the cloud. We are looking forward to go to the cloud for in the abroad. So we get a proof of concept for working with Microsoft 365. And another thing is, as an example, digital material. We like to order office supplies with QR codes, so therefore you don't have to send an email or fill in a formal for some office supply. Yes, so that's some innovations we do at the FDFA. tools and method and technology we have inside, we work with as methods. We have, as example, we have changed in the last 6 months or a year now. We work with Scrum, so we got this agile method in our head, and also the old mindset is changing also at the Federal Department of Foreign Affairs. Then we also work with some cool workshops methods like design thinking or the serious play. Forget the ideas what the client want to have. About the tools and technology what we work with, I give the word to Steve. He can give some more ideas about that.
Yes, we build our business applications with Rails and more with .NET Core. We are very based on Microsoft products, but also use open source. So we are Dockerizing most of our applications nowadays and deploying them on Kubernetes, which is, as far as I know, first inside the Swiss government. So we are also innovating in this area for the federal government. Then we use the tool suites from Microsoft and also the open source suites for Rails, and we use, of course, Git and stuff. But as government, we also use heavily as SAP, but we as the IT don't have as much contact to this because it's managed by the BIT, the organization for the IT of the entire government. Yes, back to you, Tommaso.
Thank you very much. So I will change to the next slide. Yeah, when you are interested to work one time for the FDFA, you can check the following page where we have the open jobs, and so you can get the contact informations. Yes. So now I will get to the project Mailbot, what we have done and why we did a text analyze system. So short project introduction. First of all, the IT help desk where we put this Mailbot on is in charge for the supporting the internal users. They have around 95 phone calls and 80 incoming mails per day in various languages. So due to this high workload support, mails are sometimes only threaded after several hours. And so the client were not really amazed about that. And due to the ticket system remedy, the ticket creation is very work intense. So sometimes it takes too long, and it's not really the help desk worker are not happy about that. And another thing is with the internal process was a little bit unsatisfactory because they has to share the mailbox for 4, 5, or 6 people. And everybody was free to take the mails. So they got some confusions about who take now the mail with the biggest problem. And then we took some goals, what we want to get or to reach in this project. First of all, we want to building up the AI know-how in the IT EDA or the IT FDFA. We had no infos about AI. We didn't use it for this moment, so we have to get our know-how up, and then we would like to increase the awareness of the manuals, that the people, the employees know when they have a problem, they can also take a look on the manual first and then contact the help desk. And also the faster feedback for the customer, which we took as goal. Then what of challenges and solutions we had. So first of all, the help desk worker, he has to different 102 services. So when some issue is, when he receives the issue, he has to check which service is the affected service for this problem. That's for some financial themes, and also for organizational themes, we separate the tickets in different services. And therefore, we put 25 services are provided by the ML model, and the rest, the 77 services, are provided by keywords. So for the 77 services which are provided by keywords, we didn't have, first of all, enough training data, and so it wouldn't be possible to put them in the ML model. Then we had 3 different languages of the problem was we had to focus, or that was a challenge we had, and the solution was we focus on one language for the moment and get in touch with the other language in a next step. Another thing was the bad quality of the 20,000 tickets we had to check. So we had to do a whole cleanup because the service was sometimes not correct, which was assigned by a help desk worker in the past. The impact urgency was not right, and so on. And for that, we had to clean up the whole data. So we produced, we did a short, we implemented a tool which we clean up with what we clean up the data. The current status is we have 3,500 cleaned tickets. And another thing was we had 100 different manuals which are provided on the intranet, and we merged those manuals in some subject areas so that we can connect more the manuals to the employees or to the problem which they talking about or which are referring. Some project KPIs. Now the Mailbot is since mid-September online, and he already created 1,406 tickets. And when he sent an email or email confirmation for this ticket 440 times, he added a manual which he thought that was right, and 19 services are assigned by the AI system. 35 different instruction topics are stored, and in 60 seconds after receiving an email, the incident ticket is created and the confirmation is sent. So that's about our project. So I give the word to Vanessa for introducing to the infrastructure and tools. Is this right?
Yes, exactly.
Thank you very much.
Yes, I will shortly take over the screen. Selim, you will have to reshare the presentation afterwards. But since this is an online hackathon, we need some tools for it to work and for you to collaborate. So I would like to, is that me that is pressing that? Ah, sorry. Let me check. I need to present my screen. Share screen, and now. Okay, so the first and most important tool that you will use in this hackathon is Slack. I assume you can all see my screen now, my Slack
yes.
client.
Yes.
Thank you very much. So I hope you have all found your way into our Slack workspace. For people who are familiar with Slack, we have different channels, and you can follow or join these different channels. For people who are not yet that familiar with Slack, just try it out, figure out how it works. You can, as I said, you can join different channels and you can send messages in there. You can find information about the channel on the right side. So let me quickly talk about the different channels that we have. The most important one is the general channel. So here we will have all our announcements, and we will give you reminders about upcoming Zoom sessions we will have. So make sure to check this out and to keep following that channel. You can also always find our main Zoom meeting. This will not change here on the in the general description. Then we have two different ask channels where you can ask questions about either IPT if you're interested in our company. You can just ask anything you want in here. Just try, how is it working for IPT, or what are the best parts about working at IPT and what are the worst parts about working at IPT. We try to be honest. Then there's also an Ask Microsoft channel where you can ask the people from Microsoft how to do stuff in Azure, or what else does Microsoft offer in their cloud portfolio, or even anything about the Student Ambassador program that Florian posted in here. Then another important channel for you will be, thank you for that question. What's the best part about working with IPT? I will answer that later. We have this important channel, experts, is where you can ask all our natural language processing experts or Azure experts for help if you need to have someone that, I don't know, if you need an expert in Markov chains, ask someone to help you, but most importantly, always include your team name so we can join you in your team channel and help you out there. And then we also have a random and a socialized channel where there are already some memes in there. So these are just for you to have fun. Yes, exactly. I will come back later to this spatial chat. Maybe some people already know it, but I will show you later. And then there are, of course, also your team channels. And I hope most of you have already found these. If a channel is not active in the channels list here, you can go up here to the channel browser, and then you can find all the different channels that are also available. So we have created a channel for each of your teams, so you can join this channel in here. And talk with your teammates in there. We have also created for all of the teams a dedicated Zoom meeting, so you can use that meeting and just talk with your teammates, get to know them, talk about what you're doing and how you want to do it. Exactly. Let me check what I wanted to say also. Exactly. Then I wanted to show you also this socialize part. We have opened a new share. Let's see exactly. And now I'm assuming you can see my browser with the spatial chat on it.
Yes, we do.
Thank you very much. So this is our spatial chat. This is used for socializing. When you click on the link, you can here add a name if you want. You can add a description about yourself. I am from IPT, and then it asks you also to share your camera, and then you can join the space. And now, as you can see, I am already in the dinner hall. You can zoom out here, you can make this full screen. Down here you have the controls about the camera, microphone, and so on. And here you have your little avatar. And now that I'm alone in here, it's not really that much fun because I'm all alone. But if there are more people here, I can go or move my avatar from people to people and have different groups where I can actually hear and see them. And I can also move away from people that I don't want to hear anymore. So you can gather around in smaller groups. So we don't have to have one big meeting where only 2 people can talk at once, but we have a large room where you can have multiple different clusters where you can talk with each other. If one of the rooms is full or if it's too much people in there, just go into another room. It doesn't really matter. There's another room called drinks. There's another room called random breaks, but you do you go wherever you want to go. Hello, Valentin. Exactly. Now I can see Valentin, and if I move away, I cannot see him anymore. Exactly. you can always try it out and always go in here if you want. And fun fact, if I click on one of the names, I am automatically moved there. Okay. So the next thing I wanted to also talk to you about is another important website that you need. It is also pinned in the general Slack channel, is our DevPost page. Here you will find everything you need to know about the hackathon. Let me quickly move this here. So you can find our agenda. It might come to some movement of these times, but we try to stick to it as possible. You can find all the background information about what your project is about. You can find your objective that will also be presented later again by Tommaso or by some other FDFA representative.
By Tommaso.
That's right, yes.
Good, thank you.
We will definitely show how DevPost, like the description we will show, maybe you can show how you can hand in things, submissions on DevPost, and the link to Kaggle.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I was hearing some echo. I was a bit distracted. So yes, exactly. Here you can see what kind of challenges there are. You can see how you need to submit all your details. About the submission, I will also give a short session about this tomorrow, or I will give you some pointers, and if you have questions, just come and ask me. You can also find all the judges who will judge you, and of course the judgment criteria on which criteria you will be judged on. So yes, these are the most important tools that you will be using, and if anything is unclear, as I said, just hit me up on Slack and I will try to answer your questions.
Selim, I guess you could take over the screen again.
Yes, I will give back to Selim and to Tommaso, I think.
Okay, so it's again my part. Okay, have I already okay, yes. Yes, now the objective, based on a real IT help desk support mails, train one or multiple machine learning models that predict the following attribute, which I show you afterwards, as real as possible, measured by F1 score. I think the F1 score will be Mark will tell you more about the F1 score. Is this right?
Correct. Thank you.
Perfect. So the first part is predict labels, IT service, and how-to manual. So that's the main point we have on this ML model or on this mailbot. So first of all is which service is the incident about? So that's all these services which are put in this model. That's account as an example, or mailbox. And then the second thing is which of the provided how-to manuals would fit. So we have also added the some manuals or how-to manuals to the tickets or to the mails, and there as example is Smart Device MDM or notebook manual, which will be assigned to the tickets. So therefore you have to train a model. You can use two different models for those two tasks. So when I'm right, Mark, you correct me if I'm wrong.
That is perfectly correct. Yeah, multiple models. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So the second task is service merchant strategy. So the services which we have are not really that strong. So the possibility is that we can change those services and merge services together. And for that, we like to find a solution for an evaluation of the best possible services to merge with each or other into a single service. So try to come up with a ready use code that benchmark different combinations of two or more services and show the resulting difference. For this, try to run automatic tests of one or more merges in parallel. That would help us for the further project to take a look which service can be merged and which services don't. So here you can use any programming language. And then that are the two the two main objectives you have, task 1 and task 2. And for the task 3, that's a bonus challenge task. Therefore, we are looking to find new manuals. So we have those subject area manuals already put on the data, but perhaps there are some manuals are missing. So which manuals are missing on the list? For this, try to perform a clustering of the emails so that the new manual categories can be identified. And perhaps the help desk can create new how-to manuals and provide it to the clients. That would be amazing when there will be a result. Yes, so I think, no, and yeah, after all, you have to do a presentation. So each team has 3 minutes to present your task. Afterwards, the judges can ask you some questions about your task. I hope it will not be like this little boy. Okay.
There are 2 questions in the chat. The first one from Luca is just to clarify, are deep neural networks also included in the machine learning problem statement on the slide?
So the statement does not include what you are using, but you can choose to use such models or such infrastructures for sure. Does this answer the question? Maybe short feedback?
Okay, answers it. Thank you. And the second one is, does it mean we need to solve all 2 to 3 tasks for the submission, or can we select just one?
I mean, you could select just one. We would love if you selected task 1 and task 2, and then the bonus challenge is more to be seen as a bonus. But just start on the top with task 1, or just start with whatever you know best or you think you could solve best, and see how far you get. I mean, after all, it's a hackathon, and try to put in your best efforts. Yeah.
But the points for each task will be accumulated. So the more tasks you solve successfully, the more points you will get.
Right. We all know the exam strategy from university. Better start it to some degree than to lose all your points on just one thing. Yeah.
Quick question. You just said the presentation we have 3 minutes for, but then on your agenda it says 5. So which one is it?
It's somewhere in between. 3 is very short, but we will probably limit you at 4 minutes. So try to optimize for 3.5 minutes or something, and if you do that, then you should be fine.
We're leaving a little bit of questions.
Try to optimize for being really quick and really concise, and you're good, basically.
All right, thank you.
There are 5 minutes because maybe there will be questions from the judges. So we have like 1-2 minutes for questions.
Great. We have no more questions. Vanessa, I guess? You were checking the chat.
That's all. Sorry.
So thank you. Then we can go to the next slide.
Sorry. Yes, there is another question.
Sure.
Will you add the links to the challenge description to the channel? Yes, it is already linked there. This is in the description of the Slack channel, but I can also repeat it again as a message.
And this is exactly the next slide. You can go to the next slide.
And also, can you mention about scoring schema? Which task, how many points? This would also be on DevPost. And I think, Mark, are you also talking about this a little?
Yes.
Or okay,
let's go in there. So basically, we are doing everything centrally through DevPost. DevPost is your one place to go, apart from having Slack open all the time, of course. And maybe you could simulate that quickly, Selim. Just go on DevPost, click on that link on your slide, which is so big, and which, don't forget, it is in the general chat of your Slack. So in the general chat on top, you have this small thingy where it says topics or something like that, and you have the link to DevPost in there. Now, if we scroll down a bit, we have first the agenda, just the first points with the timings. Make sure that you're in the Zoom channel. Don't forget also the link to the Zoom channel is, you have found it already, but it's in the general chat in Slack on top of the chat. Then we have the background. What is it all about? Why do we need to solve this challenge? What is going to happen with the results at FTFA? What is the mailbot about? And then you can go a bit further down. And we have all the task descriptions. So really, please take these as your master task descriptions, just to know what you should be doing exactly. And then how is it going to be awarded? Or first, how are you going to be awarded? There are prizes. And then how is it all going to be evaluated? So we do have here the submission details. You need to submit all these things very much in detail. You can see what you have to submit for task 1. This is a link to a file in the zip and the CSV file that you upload on Kaggle. We do have 2 Kaggle challenges running, basically 2 in-class challenges on Kaggle for both the service and the how-to manuals. So you can submit on Kaggle, and we are only working with the public leaderboard. So there is no private leaderboard. You have 5 submissions per day, and please use your team name. Otherwise, we don't know who submitted that on Kaggle. Please use your exact team name for a challenge or task 1. And in task 2, you will just be submitting code or whatever you did, plus basically a 1-page PDF where you describe what you did, which you also do in task 1, this 1-page PDF. And in task 3, again, the same like in task 2, basically. Yes. So how are we going to evaluate it? This is also something that you can find out here in judging criteria. So you see there is 7.5 points, and we are using the micro F1 score. So Tommaso, this was the hint from before. We are using the micro F1 score on Kaggle to automatically evaluate your results. And we give you 7.5 points for the manuals and 7.5 points for the services as a reward if you are best, and then a bit less if you are not best. So we are kind of doing a ranking and giving points on that. We would also love to hear from you about your tools and methodologies. So don't forget, you can also get 5 points if you just have super fancy tool set, which actually works and which actually brings value to this challenge, business value, not just fancy technology alone is going to convince us. And then similarly for task 2 and task 3, it is really about how you approach it and how meaningful your outcomes will be for the project, how helpful the project sees these outcomes in getting further, and in knowing in task 2 which services could be merged together. So can we combine 2 services and do the predictions better then? And in task 3, which manuals should we even create? And this is one of our biggest questions. We don't know which manuals really should we create. We have a set of manuals that just more or less randomly or by gut feeling the help desk came up with, but we would love to have an automated clustering or a way of learning how to deal or how to come up with such manuals or manual titles. You don't have to do the manuals, just the titles, don't forget. And then we will be doing that on the project. So please refer to DevPost. Please scroll down from top to bottom on DevPost. All the relevant information is in here.
There is a question from Luca as well. Can we share our screen for the presentation at the end? I guess you can. We have not really decided that yet, but I guess you can.
I think that will be the way we will be doing it, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, maybe we can go back to the slide set. Thank you. So now that you know DevPost, basically, I think we are already at the group finding stage on the next slide.
Well, then I take over again. So thank you for listening and introducing yourself. And we are hoping that you're not overwhelmed by the task. Don't forget there's time to still ask our mentors. And there's also going to be an open question and then answer session in approximately 1 hour or a bit more, less. And now is the time to find your team. Not all of you applied as a team, so we also made some new groups. So I think, Vanessa, could you put everyone in their breakout rooms so they can have a private session to talk with each other, in their 3 people groups?
So the best way is for you to first find your team channel, and there you can find a separate Zoom meeting for yourself, and then you can chat with everyone. So you are sure that everything is working fine for you, and then you can join us back later. I think Selim in here at around 1:45 or what?
1:45, yeah, exactly.
And
Meanwhile,
if
you will be receiving the data as an encrypted zip, and then we will give you the encryption password when we officially release the data somewhere around 2. Thank you for your NDAs. Those who have not yet sent an NDA, please make sure to everyone send an NDA on Slack so you can actually receive the data also in the same channel on Slack direct messages.
And I have also a little mention. If you see that there are not your teammates online, or they didn't register for the hackathon, and you're alone, or you can just write to Selim and he can maybe assign you to a new team, right? Great.
Yeah, exactly. So please inform me if anything doesn't fit, like something is not going as you expect. We're going to try to fix it as good as we can. So you're definitely not going to have to do the hackathon on your own. We're here for you, and we're also there for all your questions. So now is the time that you can leave this meeting and join your group, and see you in approximately 40 minutes. Thank you.
If you are bored in your Zoom meetings with the group, you can also try Spatial Chat.
Spatial.
See you later, guys.
Bye, see you
later.
Sorry, can I ask a quick question about the data? Is it time to ask a question now? Or?
Sure, please go ahead. You can use this minute, yeah.
Okay, so when we use, for instance, live share in VS Code, just as an example, can we put the data in the same directory as we're working on? Because I think it uploads it to GitHub to collaborate on it. And as it states in the email, I think, or in the non-disclosure agreement, uploading it anywhere is not allowed. But like these collaborative services, do they count into that, or?
I mean, for me, it would be very important that GitHub is really private, so that there is no public exposure.
It's private, yeah.
Okay, yeah. And then I guess that is fine. Please make sure to delete it again in the end.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, by GitHub, we were referring mostly to the public typical GitHub that you would expect that we don't want to see. Yeah.
Okay.
But also please delete it from any private sources in the end.
Okay, and another question that relates to that is if we, for instance, wanted to translate the text into English, we could use some, I don't know, some DeepL or something package for Python, for instance. Can we use something like that?
Because sure. Is it calling the API of DeepL, or is it like
only the API?
Yeah,
I think there is the problem. It would be going to the server of DeepL.
Yeah,
should be a good question. I think
so. I think if you have a DeepL Pro account, which the data is not saved, it's definitely not that big of a problem because the data is not saved on the servers. But I think if you use the normal DeepL without a pro account, the data is saved on the servers of DeepL to improve their model, and that would be a problem.
That would be a problem, exactly. Yes.
Even if it's only the API, if there's no interface at all, it's still saved, Steve. Or...
I mean, check with DeepL, I guess.
Okay, if it's not saved, it's no problem.
Yes, and I'm not sure if it's saved with the API, but I think that is a paid feature that it's not saved.
Okay.
That's a very good general rule for everyone. So we just don't want the data to be saved anywhere, and we would like you to delete it in the end if you do save it somewhere, and not publicly, please, available.
Thanks.
Well, we're still not yet all together, but I think we can already talk about like the little problem we had. Like, unfortunately, the Zoom links didn't work as we planned it to do, but Vanessa can say more to this.
Yes, thanks, Selim. Yes, we are having the first technical problems, of course. That means we did not consider that we cannot have multiple parallel meetings with our one user. So, but since this is a hackathon, I saw that all of you already, or most of you already organized yourselves with different Zoom meetings, with your own Zoom meetings. So thank you a lot for that. So if it's okay for you, we would continue like that. You try to organize yourselves. And if you are not able to organize a meeting yourself, just let me know and we will try to figure something out for you. I hope that's fine for everyone. So back to you, Selim, I guess.
Selim, you are sharing your Slack screen. We see you inviting everyone. Thanks.
Okay, so sorry. Yeah, actually, I was surprised that you could see my Slack channel because I actually tried to only share this window, but well, I probably failed. So, well, now is the last part of the pre-hackathon before you actually start to get the data and hack. And here for this part, I'm gonna give the word to, I think, Mark, that's gonna present you the baseline of the hackathon.
Mainly that will be Steve, but yeah, please go ahead to the next slide.
Steve, you have now remote access.
Thank you. So also to the question from Luca before with DeepL, I quickly checked and the API is only available with a token. So then the data is not saved as far as I've seen. So that would be possible. So we currently are already, we already have a model. It's very simple, but it does its job. So we have 3 parts to our baseline. The first one is cleaning the data because the mail contents are HTML and also there are very many fields we receive but don't use. So we read the CSV, reduce it, remove the signatures from the mail body, remove control characters from the text, which are not really to make it machine readable better. Then we run lang detect and export only the German mails at the moment, because that's the language with the most tickets, and that's the one we focused on for now. The data you received and will soon receive the password to steps in after this. That's the cleaned and only German emails with only the relevant fields. So at the moment we predict those 19 services with the model and add others, which is the rest, and in those we have the 6 services on the right evenly distributed. I will show later my GitHub where I uploaded this baseline, and this list is also there. Then the second step is preparate the data. So we concatenate the subject and the body and tokenize them to get only the tokens of the words. We group them by service and balance those. At the moment, we take 80 to 100 mails or incidents per service, because for some we have more, but that is the limit we set. At least 80 we took. Then we fill up add others with the rest and save those incidents again to a pickle, sampled and balanced by the services. Now I would like to give the word to Patrick.
Thank you. Just one back, please.
Yes.
Yep. Thank you. After that, as already mentioned, just a simple step. We use the TF-IDF vectorizer. And as you've probably seen it, we don't only predict the service. We use it too for the urgencies and the impacts and the incident types. So we took we stacked the model, but just for only one model we used the multi-output classifier. At the moment, it's the logistic regression on the TF-IDF, and in the pipeline there we create the model, of course, and we print some graphs to get a view about it. Is it better or even less? Well, what should we do as next, or should we use a different classifier? Yeah, that's for the moment. Steve will take you to the GitHub, I think.
Yes.
Code.
Sure. Can I click here? I don't know. Yes. So I uploaded this baseline on GitHub. The text from the slides is also in the README, including those services we predict at the moment. As you see, it's Python. We use virtual env, and the requirements are in this txt file. And then we have those 3 scripts: the cleaning, preparation, and model training. You can take a look at it if you need some pointers for what we did and use it as a starting point. So, I mean, here we see the vectorizer, the stacking, and here we create the model. You can take a look on this repo. It's public, and I'll post the link in the Slack as well.
I just asked Vanessa to also put this link on DevPost, so we have everything in one place.
Okay.
If you want to check it later.
That's great. The results. We could, Tommaso, provide the last confusion matrix and box plot with our classifiers, surely. And would you also like the model itself?
Sorry, was that question to me?
Yes, someone asked it in the chat.
That we share the... You have a chance to results of baseline somewhere? Yeah, we can share it. I think there is no problem to share the results, or what do you mean?
Yeah, we just need the box plot images.
Okay, I can... Where we can share it on the...
Could you add it to the GitHub maybe, or?
Oh, yeah, I can do that. Sure.
Okay.
So you could send to Steve.
Yes, I can send it. Okay, perfect. Yeah.
Does that clear the question? I think yes. I'll upload it after this session here. So back to the slides. I think that's already everything for the baseline. I'll give the word to Mark, I think.
Thank you. I guess I have not much to add. It would be great. Vanessa, have you been able to add it on DevPost, or that will happen soon?
I am just now on it.
Perfect.
Can I get a short information about the data? So the question was, can I upload the data on a private or GitHub? So yeah, in the non-disclosure, we put private or public is not included. So there's no possibility. We get this with our with this provide service, so they get these permissions, and yes, there is no possibility to upload it to a private or public GitHub.
You can share your models, you can share all your code, just not the data. It's only
not the data. Yes, exactly. The model is not included, just the data. And also for translating it automatically, I think there is the possibility that they take the data is too high. So the risk we cannot take, and if somebody get to know this, yeah, I think the risk is too high. So there is no possibility. Sorry.
Thank you for the clarifications on the data usage, Tommaso. I mean, this was the baseline. If you have questions later on to the baseline, you can ask them in Slack to our channels. Could you go to the next slide?
You have control over the screen.
Thank you. Exactly. So now follows the actual data. Do I have as much control that I could even copy paste things into here or not? No, that's a presentation apparently, huh? I need to go into the mode of editing. Yeah.
By the way, the links are all on DevPost now. You can find most of it either in the overview or under the resources tab.
Mark, should I copy something or?
I will do it. Just give me a second. I will just write it. Why is it? Oh, that's like a formatting that we have right now, huh?
Yeah.
Right. Can you clear that formatting? Do you know where that is?
Let me see.
Mark, are you now adding the password, because we are still live on YouTube?
Yeah, better.
I will stop the live stream, okay?
I mean, it would be no problem because no one on YouTube has the data. It's kind of tomorrow at 4 p.m.
Sorry, I missed the part regarding the baseline. Can I see where can I find the slides or?
Sure. So the slides are not super relevant. We are trying to handle everything with GitHub. So you have a README on GitHub, which is going to be relevant and which summarizes everything relevant. And this link to GitHub is on DevPost in a second or already by now. Thank you, Vanessa.
Yes, it's on in the tab Resources on DevPost.
Go to DevPost, check the tab Resources. And now we would like to hear something from Microsoft. So just for you to know, later on, you will also be receiving codes, Azure passcodes, so you can open an Azure account for free. We also do have codes for AWS, so you can also open an AWS account for free with, I think, $100 usage that you can use as you want with the tools that you want on that cloud. So what I will be doing, I will shortly rename the Obtain Data user, and or I will leave it actually as Obtain Data. It will be Obtain Data still, and you can just write the Obtain Data user if you would like to have a code for either AWS or Microsoft Azure. Just write that to the Obtain Data user on Slack as a direct message, and you will have a code with about $100 usage on either Azure or AWS, or even both if you need so. Thank you. Now I would like to hand over to Microsoft about data protection and compliance in Switzerland.
Good afternoon, all. My name is Marcus Scanner. I'm the Cloud Success Account Manager, Customer Success Account Manager for the Swiss federal government, which includes also the EDA part, of course. And I would like to give you a short presentation about data protection and compliance, how we handle it with our 2 data centers in Switzerland. Can you please move on to the next slide?
You have control of the slide.
Ah, okay, good. Perfect, thank you. So, as you see here, we have 2 data centers, one in the region of Zurich and other one in Geneva, so that we have an own site within Switzerland, so that the data does not leave Switzerland actually, and that's one important thing which is for all public sector customers important, that they have the data within Switzerland and it stays there. And of course also performance and also compliance regulations. They are paired, and it's an in-country disaster recovery, of course, and we have the same trust principles as overall. You can see it showed in the next slide where you can find it. When you go to Azure and use your service, then make sure that you choose Switzerland North or Switzerland West, so that the data is within Switzerland. Concerning the compliance and data protection, we fulfill all different norms and regulations, from ISO 27700 to SOC and so on. You can find them also on our Service Trust portal. Here you have an extract of it, where you can see all the regulations we have fulfilled. I will be available over Slack also if you have questions. With me will be also Florian Georg, our developer audience lead, and also then afterwards Letizia for some for questions on cognitive services. Florian has already mentioned it in the channel Ask Microsoft. You can get you can be also a student ambassador on Microsoft Learn. Check out the program and the video. And with that, I would hand over back to you, and good coding.
So this was the end of this session. So the hackathon is now officially started, and they're going to be don't forget the question session in approximately 40 minutes. So you have time to read the task, and hopefully you already have questions. But I mean, that's just the open question session. If you have any other questions at other time, you can contact one of the mentors, and we're also gonna check on you, how your team is doing. So if you're getting stuck, that's no problem. We're gonna be here for you. And so if you don't have the data yet, as mentioned, you just need to send the NDA and then you get the data. Yeah. Good. Then if there's no further questions, I only can say, are you ready for the challenge? And see you at the next Zoom meeting in approximately 35 minutes at 1:45. So
and I'll also put the graphics, the F1 score, and the confusion matrix on the GitHub. So for those who want to look at them, they're also there.
Check out DevPost very well, and in resources you will find that GitHub, for example, and all the other information.
Hi, I just have a question. So will there be like a new link for the next meeting? Because I do have a couple of questions. I had some time issues.
It will be just this meeting, but we will just come back in about or at about 1:45. It will always be this Zoom meeting. We will have this, and we will always come back in here. Is that okay? Otherwise, just directly go ask one of the mentors in the Slack if you have a one-to-one question.
Sure. Okay. Also, if I miss certain part of the session, there's one more question. So about mentioning Switzerland, I am actually an exchange student and my team's also like that. So we are not exactly in Switzerland. And will that also require us to like mention Switzerland in the data? That's fine, right? I am enrolled in the UZH, but I mean, I'm not physically there.
That's no problem. You can physically work from anywhere.
And if I miss certain part of this because of my, of course, time issues between my home country and Switzerland, do I get to watch this previous part somewhere? I see that it's live, it's on live stream.
Yeah. So Vanessa, do we have a recording of the previous part, or is there no recording?
I think on the live stream there should be a recording. I will check.
Thank you for the question.
Yeah, you can go back on the YouTube live stream and
which places that I'm trying to actually look for it on YouTube. Could you just tell me the exact channel, or maybe
I'll send the link also again in the channel.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, the YouTube link we could add on DevPost as well, I guess.
It's also prominently on DevPost, but I will add it also in the channel again.
Great. Any other questions before we will leave you hacking? You will receive the code soon for Azure and AWS. Just stay patient. Within an hour, you should have these as well.
Well, then I think, yeah, you can stay in the meeting, turn off your camera, or get out of this meeting and join later. So see you soon again. Bye-bye. So the question session is starting soon. So to have a fair round of questions, we're going to have some orders. So if you want to ask a question, just stay the queue in the chat, and I'm going to announce who's asking the question, and then you can unmute yourself. Then some of the experts are going to write R for reply. So then this person can reply, and if you have if the question is still not answered, just state an R in the chat again, and then you can ask to clarify your question. So we're still waiting for some people to come in. Let's see how many people already have questions. I have a question at ITP and EDA. Are already all of the experts within the room?
I think there are still some. No, Mark is now here. Valentin. I think from IPT, one is here, right?
So far, only sees Patrick from EDA.
Yes, and me, I'm already here. But I'm not sure if Patrick is here or away.
He's here. He showed a thumbs up.
Okay, since this event is on a live stream, we can actually already start. I mean, people can review the questions if they missed the question. So please state your, place a Q in the chat if you have a question, and then I'm going to call you up. And so we make a first round of questions. After like a minute, I make a break. So we just answer the first phase of questions, and then there's going to be a second phase. And if there are more questions, we're going to make a third phase. So all the participants, if you have questions now, you can set a queue in the chat, and then I will call you. Well, so far I don't see any question yet. Don't be shy. Like, there's no stupid question. The only thing you can do that is not good is not asking questions, because if you don't ask questions, we cannot help you. So you're really welcome, and we hope that you ask all the questions that you have. So yeah, Shogun, there was the question. You can state your question to the group, and then the experts will. So since she seems that Shogun doesn't have her microphone on, I'm gonna state the question. One of my team members is a bit late in sending the NDA. Won't he get the data without that? Right. And I think, if I'm not wrong, that's actually the case. So you should not share the data with your team member that didn't fill the NDA yet. So he should hurry a little bit and send the NDA, and then as soon as he did that, he's going to receive the data.
Exactly. And it's really flexible. You can print the NDA out and make a picture of your signature, or you can just take your signature as a picture and put it into Word and send us the Word or the PDF. So we are really flexible there, but please do so. Yeah, everyone, every member of every team. Thank you.
Hi, so my microphone worked. I'm so sorry. So no, my question is, I have already sent mine to the Slack chat, direct chat, but apparently because I didn't receive it yet, so I thought maybe all my team members need to send that. That's the case, or can I get one? And if the moment they send it, then I will share it with them, or they will get it directly.
I just checked, Shagun, and you did receive it. So you have received it at 2:38, like 12 minutes ago, and you sent your NDA at 2:23. So
Let
you
me check that. Okay, thank you.
should be having it. Yeah.
To clarify, you don't have to write your question in the chat. You just have to write a Q in the chat, like the letter Q, and then I'm going to call you and you can ask your question. So there's no need that you write your question into the chat. So the next question is from Tia. Tia, do you want to state your question? Is Tia here?
Yes, Tia is here.
So can you state your
You lagged out quite big time.
Can you read aloud your question, Thea?
Okay. I just wanted to say that me and my team, we're only erstis. We have no experience whatsoever with the machine learning in this particular case. And we would like to know if anyone has like some tips, tricks, learning videos, like anything kind of for us.
Very good. So we do have the Azure slot for you, right? I'm not exactly sure about the timing at this moment, but on DevPost, you should be seeing it. We have the Azure intro, which shows you about Azure machine learning, and also make sure to be very attentive when the baseline is being explained again. And check out the baseline on GitHub. Okay. Check out what libraries this baseline is using, like really look in depth into the baseline. It could give you some good hints.
I can suggest that we could make like a learning hub or something like this, so people that have some spare time can maybe post some links in there for everyone that wants to learn something about new topics. But that's just a suggestion by me.
I like your suggestion.
We can add a Slack channel for sure. Let's do that, and then everyone can share whatever isn't competitive or extremely competitive knowledge in there.
Or any knowledge at all. Okay, yeah, sounds nice. Thank you.
Because this hackathon is here to have fun, to learn stuff that you might not learn at university directly and test your skills. So we're here for every kind of participant. So if that was the whole question, then I'm going to continue with the question from Selena Pepic. You can state your question.
Okay, I have a couple of questions. So first one is, can we use pre-trained models like embeddings from Stanford or Google that already exist? And the second question is, well, me and my team didn't fully understand the second task. And it would really help if we have some example or the very baseline model for the second task, or even the second part of the first task, so we actually see how we submit, what the submission should look like in that case. Because like in the first case, it's in the first task, it's very clear how the submission looks like, but in the second task and third, it's not very clear. And since we only have 5 submissions, every submission is very valuable. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. So, of course, in data science, it's very easy to evaluate things because you can say whether they were correct or not if you have a test set. So we do that. We have something on Kaggle where you can get 15 points very clearly and hardly measurable. But hackathons about programming an application or programming architecture or coming up with an intelligent solution are not always so easily measurable. So we try to give you guidelines at what we will be looking at, but it should really be something that just contributes to the project. And feel free, really use your freedom and try to come up with the most convincing things possible which go into these guidelines posted on DevPost. So kind of, I have to stay open with your question, but I tried to show you the direction. Did that help?
Yeah, it kind of helps. So for the second task, we don't actually submit our solution, or I mean, how does it work?
So you have the submission guidelines on DevPost. Please refer to those. As far as I remember, for the second and the third, you will for sure be submitting a PDF as well, which shows what you are doing. Please refer to DevPost, yeah.
And we are also interested if you create a GitHub repo with your code, we will quickly look at that while validating, perhaps if we have the time. And afterwards, if we were really thinking that's a good approach, we would like to go to this code and further investigate and take the time to look at it. So include a GitHub link in your PDF.
That's all stated on DevPost. Thank you for clarifying. So there will be also code to be submitted for all the challenges. Yeah.
Could you also answer the pre-trained model question? So can we use pre-trained models?
Sure. Nothing speaks against that. Yeah. You can do transfer learning on pre-trained models. That's no problem at all.
Thanks.
Good. Then if that's clear, we're going to continue with the next question. The question is from Andreas. You can state your question.
Yep. So the question is do we have to train the models using Kaggle or Azure or AWS that were provided before, or are we free to use our own resources?
Totally free. Use whatever fits best for you. We provide you AWS and Azure access just so you have something, or so everyone has something. But if you have something better or what fits better for you, then go with that. Totally free.
Perfect. Thanks.
Good. We're still waiting for more questions. So just to clarify, another time, you don't have to state your question in the comment. You just can write a Q, and then I'm going to call your name, and then you can state your question. So also have in mind that the question session lasts until 3:15. Afterwards, we're going to have other sessions, and we're going to have other sessions, so there's not that much time for questions, live questions like now. So really, please use this opportunity now. Is there otherwise something in mind that maybe IPT or EDA wants to state that was maybe missing in the previous presentation until we get the next question?
Everything clear or nothing clear? Both options are there. But we will be in the Slack. Please do not hesitate to ask us questions anytime we are online.
Just to see how you're doing, could you write either a plus or a minus in the chat to show if you understood the task so far, or if you don't understand it at all and you don't know what you want to ask? So a plus for if you understand everything, just write it in the chat, and a minus if you didn't understand the task.
A star is coming in. Is that between plus and minus?
It seems that there are some people that need still a little bit more time. So yeah, just keep in mind there's still the expert chat. So if you have some other questions, just state them in the expert chat. Don't try to contact organizers directly, because like asking a question in general is better if we share it with everyone, except it's some really specific, then you of course can contact some specific expert. But we're not always available, so it's easier for us to manage the questions in the expert Slack channel if you just state it there. While we're on it and there's no further questions, we can take the time to announce that there are going to be some kind of get to know each other activity before dinner. We're going to send more details in the Slack channel, but so we wanted you not only get to know your teammates, but also the other participants. So you can just join there. We're going to be on spatial chat and having some games prepared to play together. We hope that many going to join, but it's free. Like if you want to spend your time on the hackathon and programming, we are glad about that too. But if you want to socialize a little bit more, we are also up for that.
And we will order pizza for you guys. So I think in a couple of minutes or an hour, you will get Google Doc form where you can write in which kind of pizza you would like, and we will send it to you. So for those who love to eat the pizza, you don't have to cook for tonight.
So there is a new question from Ms. U. You can state your question.
Thank you, Selim. Hi, everyone. So my question is, for how long experts will be available for today? Like until 7, 8, 5, 6?
Depends on the expert, but I am off and on, for example. So I will be looking into it until I go to bed.
Okay. I see.
Yes, thank you.
I think regarding the question like task 2, as a team, we still need to dig deep and come up with some ideation, some benchmark stuff online or some papers or something like that. And maybe we need to validate before implementing, like, does this make sense to, yeah, that's why I asked, but thanks for the replies. Yeah.
Take your time. Very scientific approach. Sounds very professional. Definitely.
Nothing comes into mind for the moment, right? Because it's quite an open-end question. Like, yeah, not like task 1, for example, right? So it is kind of challenging in this sense.
True.
Therefore, I think we're gonna look at what's possible first, then maybe validate before implementation, right? And that's
show your creativity. Yeah, and also research might help. Definitely. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I saw that some new people joined. You can state your question when you state a Q in the chat, and they're gonna say your name and you can ask your question. There is a new question from Andreas.
Yeah, so my question is the data that we have for training, is it randomly collected? I remember you said that it's only the German data filtering out all the other languages, but is it randomly collected and over which period of time? Or is it some sort of cherry-picked data?
I would give that one to Tommaso, yeah.
That's the cleaned up data from the last 6 months, I think. So it's the newest tickets we cleaned up. So in this case, when we have, I think you have all the 3,500 mails. So in this case, you have all the cleaned up data, yes, from the last 6 months. Or perhaps it's more in past, yeah.
And we do have a bit of a sparse data problem. So it's not so many texts that you have. You might think about data augmentation. How do you make more cases out of it? Or how do you approach the fact that it's not such a big data set?
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Fair enough. Thank you.
Good. It's like the last 10 minutes of this session, so it's the time for asking your question if there are still some. By the way, I wanted to ask that in the Slack channel, but I think I can state it now here. Could you show with a plus if you received already your surprise box bag, or if you didn't receive it yet, like for the ones that were not delivered personally, the surprise was sent by post, and I would like to know if you received it. Just say the plus if you received it, and then minus if you didn't receive it yet, but it should be on its way.
Some stars coming in again. What are these?
I'm gonna check with Niklaus why I didn't receive his package yet, but it should be on its way. Otherwise, it looks quite good. Also with Marco, I'm gonna check. And yeah, some stars, but we will hopefully soon figure out what stars mean.
Stars is the new plus.
It probably means they received it and found it very cool.
Multiplied by, not just plus, you know.
It's one dimension above the plus.
So don't be shy, you can still ask questions. There's 5 minutes left of this session. And afterwards, the Microsoft Azure session will start. Well, since there's still no question, like maybe IPT or IDA could again like state what they have, what their expectations are from the participants for this hackathon.
Maybe Tommaso, you could still say about the project and where we are at the project and what we would really like to see in future and where we would like to see inputs.
So yeah, where we are at we started, or we published MVP in month of September, and now we are finishing the project. The next thing will be the beginning next year. We're gonna check up the ML model, and we will collect your solutions and hopefully get some inputs for adapt our ML model, or in particularly the task 2 is very interesting for us. So for this, we hadn't the time to do it, to find a solution for that. So that's why we put also this task 2 in this hackathon, and therefore we are really interested about the solutions you get. Could help us a lot. And so the thing is, like Mark already told, the data is not really, we don't have a lot of data. So that's a point. That's the whole is a big problem. The problem is we have to clean up the data. That takes a lot of time to get really the good data. When we already tested with the unclean data, and the result was not really excited. So it takes some time, I think. So in about a year, we can really look up to get a good result. The box plot tells us it's like something like 60%. But in the reality, it's the how you say, the traffic. Have to translate it. Just a second. Yeah, the hit rate is in reality something like between 20 and 40%. So it's not that fantastic. But we hope that when we get more data and train the model on changed algorithms, that we will progress and get a really good product. So we're excited to look forward the next year, and excited about your ideas to merge services, and also to get perhaps new ideas for manuals. Yeah.
And this is a typical problem that you will find out in business. It's not those typical Kaggle challenges where you have tons of data available, but you need to think about smart strategy of data augmentation or dealing with sparse data sets.
And you have also get the time to do it. And the problem is, when you don't have enough data, the result is not really that excited. So the management is not that overwhelmed of the solution. So you don't get the money or the time of the resource. So it's quite challenging. And I think when you go, I have to translate also this word. Yeah, the expectation management. I think this is a really interesting or important point in this project, or for those projects. So you have to go step by step with a small use case, and then go further and get better. And perhaps now in a year, when we have now the way how to clean up the data, to get the data, and then we will also get a good product, and perhaps they see the possibility we can have with some AI products or solutions.
Thank you a lot for your answer. So that's the last minute to ask a question. Afterwards, the Microsoft Azure session is going to start, led by Mark and Valentin. So we're going to wait this minute, and then the next session is going to start.
Okay, just let me know when to get started.
You can prepare already slowly your slides and share them, but wait if
I don't have
questions
slides.
showing.
I'm gonna do it live.
I will
So you
use
just
that
share my
short
screen.
time until Valentin is getting ready to just tell you again. There is a user on Slack who is called Obtain Data. And if you want to get a free Azure access or also an AWS access, which we do not support with a lot of experience, but also there is an option to get a code for AWS. So either Azure or AWS codes are available to get your $100 or more to use on those cloud platforms. Just write the Obtain Data user. Thank you.
Thank you for this remark, Mark. So then I give the word to Valentin, and the next session starts, and the point
All right.
answers is finished.
How does it look? Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, we do.
Okay, very nice. All right, so I can see the chat. If something interesting comes in, Mark, can you kind of speak up?
I will
let me
supervise
know?
it.
Okay, very nice. So I figured when I was back in university, I knew a lot about data science, but basically nothing about the cloud and how we can use the compute resources there. This is a good and useful tool where I thought I'd give you a little introduction on how we can use Azure for that. Oh, let's see, there's something in the, no, that's the other chat. Okay. So I understand that the Microsoft guys gave you some credits for Azure.
They are
so
available on the Obtain Data user, yeah.
Okay, very nice. So you guys can go ahead and hit that user up and get a promo code, and then you can sign up for Microsoft Azure, which is the cloud platform, and this will give you credits of about $100 US, which will be more than enough for our hackathon. This can get you some time on virtual machines and some storage and so on. And so what we can use here is a product called Azure Machine Learning Studio, or ML Studio. And when you open up Azure for the first time, you can go to this field here and look for machine learning and open this up. And what you'll have to do is you'll have to click here to create a new resource of Machine Learning Studio. Here you just create a new resource group, and then you give it a name, and the rest, something like this. And the rest you can leave it at the default. This is going to work. Just hit next and next and next and create. And I did this beforehand, so I will show you what this looks like now. You can open this up and then hit Launch Studio. And this will open up ML Studio. Now, ML Studio is, how to put it, it's like a dashboard and a nice collection of tools where you can manage the entire development lifecycle of your machine learning model. So you have a couple of things that are interesting. You can have your data sets. You can upload them here and have a versioned set of data sets. You can track the models that you have. You can run some Jupyter notebooks, and you can use AutoML. And I will first of all show you a quick intro to how you can set up a Jupyter notebook. I assume that probably everyone is already familiar with that, so I won't get into what it is, but how you can set it up. And yes, that's a nice way to run some data science code on a powerful machine with a GPU, or just to collaborate and have your code in the cloud. So what you can do here is click Notebooks and create a new one, create a new file. And here you have your notebook. You can hit Create. And now this will be running on a VM that you have to create first. For that, you go over here and you click on New Compute. And then you can say, okay, I want a GPU machine, and you can select what kind of machine you want. For example, we can get this one with enough resources basically. And again, the same thing here, you just give it a name or something, and then you just hit create. I've done that beforehand, so I'm not going to create a new VM here. Just would like to leave this menu. And then you can select it on here. And now what you can do is, let me just find this. Somewhere over here you can, oh yeah, in editors, edit in Jupyter Lab. That's easier, or I find it easier and more familiar, especially for the data scientists. You probably know what this is already. So this is like a Python instance that is running on the cloud. So here we have a bunch of stuff pre-installed, basically, I would say almost everything that we need. And we can just type Python code into these cells like so. And then we can just run them, and then we can see, okay, our code is running, right? Like so. There you go. There you go. Okay. Now you can open a terminal. Where do you do that? Here. You can open a terminal to connect to your machine, and in order to, if you need to install new software or something, or manage your Python environment, you can do this in here. You can, for instance, type freeze. I'm assuming here that you guys are familiar with Python and you kind of know roughly how it works, how you can install things, like say pip install Spacey, and that way you can, yes, you can manage your things over here. And what I'll show you next is a framework called Spacey, which is very useful for natural language processing. This is something that I will describe as a batteries included framework for machine learning and NLP in particular. This is a set of pre-trained models, and it is very simple to use. So here they show an example of how you can do that. What you need to do first is you need to download a model, again, a pre-trained model. We can do it by typing this, Spacey download, and then we're going to use a German model since our data set is in German. Grab a German model over here. Whoops, there you go. Core News SM. All right. Waiting for a moment here. And once you have done that, we can go back to the beginner tutorial and just use this code here. What was it again? I can never remember things like that. There you go. Okay, so this is our NLP pipeline over here. And then we can say a document is a sentence. So you would read in the data set. And when you have one of those samples, like say an email subject or an email body, or however you would like to approach this, and then you can just analyze this document by saying, okay, then someone give me a sample sentence. What could we have? Okay, and now this supports various types of analysis and classification on such a sentence. For example, here you see you can extract the noun phrases like so, or you can do part of speech tagging for those of you who are familiar with some basic natural language processing. Whoops, sorry about that. That was the wrong button. For those who are familiar with some basic natural language processing, you can analyze it like so. So I would recommend to get started by using this framework. Here you can see you have various tools available. Let me see, what do we have here? We have the vectors, training models. You have some classification somewhere over here. Yeah, I don't remember where it is exactly, but you guys can look that up. Okay. Okay. Another thing that I would like to show you guys over here is automated machine learning. I don't know how many of you have heard of this. Basically, AutoML means you have automated the entire process, what the data scientist would usually do. So you just give your system the clean data, and then it tries to run different machine learning algorithms on it, and it selects the best one. So you can try out and see if this is of any use to you, and if this product can do some proper classification. The way you do this is, first you have to upload your data sets to this ML Studio here. I've already done this here, but I'll show you again how it works. So you have to select your files. Oh yeah, give it a name. You just keep the data store as it is, and then you can go ahead and say, okay, I'm going to upload my CSV data. And then here you hit next. So here you have to select what kind of delimiter the CSV has. I believe the file that I selected just now is with semicolons, like so. And then you say, okay, we have a column header. So we have the first row is actually the names of the different columns. And then here you can, this way you can prepare this data set. And it shows you the first, how much is it, the first 7 lines of it. And you can see we have nicely parsed it in here. So then you hit next. You can keep all this the way it is. You can hit next. And when you hit create, you're going to get a new data set. Again, I'm not going to do this now because I already have one. And when you have this data set over here, you can then go to automated ML. Oh, actually, a step that I forgot is, first you need to set up a compute cluster. So that's a set of virtual machines that are going to be used for this automatic machine learning. And you do this by going down here to compute and compute cluster, and you create a new one. And again, here you say, okay, what kind of machines are we going to use? And you can select one that has a decent amount of power. For example, I'm going to select this one, which has 2 cores and 14 gigs of RAM, which should be fine, I believe. You give it a name, and then you say the maximum number of nodes is, I don't know, let's say 0 to 3. It will automatically scale up and down as required. But just set it to something higher than 0, because otherwise it's not going to work. And when you do that, you can hit automated ML and create a new run. And then you can select your data sets that you created earlier. And then you can say, I'm going to create a new experiment, for example, to predict the service. And you have to select, which one was it again? I think this is the column that we need, and so on. And then you just click next. Here, look at this. I find this very funny. You just have to enable a checkbox, and there you go. You're doing deep learning. All right. So this is a classification problem. We're trying to pick the correct instance of a set of classes. And then you hit finish, and that's kind of all you have to do with the system that will train various machine learning models in the background and try to select the best one. And yes, you can see if that works out well, or if you can get better results with your own algorithms. Okay, so yes, that's about it for the quick intro to Azure. This should be enough to get you started. Basically, any kind of Python processing you can do in a notebook if you prefer, or on your own machine. But if you run it in a notebook, of course, you have the option to do it on a beefy VM with more power than the typical laptop, right? So yes, if we can help you out with any of that, or if you're interested in trying it out and could use some support, just go ahead and hit us up in the experts channel. And that's it for the intro. Stop sharing now.
So there's a question and from Alejandro, and as this was recorded, I think you can just go back in the YouTube live stream and see the whole tutorial if you missed it.
Yeah.
And there was another question from Alejandro, how to export a notebook to a GitHub repository.
Okay, that's an interesting question. I believe in here in Jupyter Lab, you have the option to clone a GitHub repository, but I'm not sure actually. Let me see. Well, okay, so the easiest thing that you can probably do is you go to your terminal, and then in here you have your notebooks, right?
Can you share your screen again, because your screen is not there.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, forgot to share. Sorry about that. Let's try this again. Okay, can you see it?
Yes, it's here.
It's here? Okay, very nice. Again, I'm actually pretty sure that Jupyter Lab has integration with Git, but I can't find it right now. But the easiest thing you can probably do is just go to the terminal, and in the terminal you have this folder, right? You have all your stuff here. So what you can just do is you can just create a new Git repository in here. I don't know, can you guys see my command line? Maybe I can try to zoom in a little bit. And then in here, you can just create a new Git repository. And from there on, you can push it to GitHub, right? There you go. Git add. From there on, you guys know how it works. Okay. Does that help? Any other questions?
So just don't forget on Slack to also join the #LearningHub channel. I have jotted down a little bit what Valentin was doing. So just so you have some hints on what you could look into. And it's a really good place to share some know-how and to have the know-how statically readable somewhere. Join that channel on Slack Learning Hub. And also about the passes, the Azure passes for free Azure access, I've only received requests from about 3 to 4 teams. So don't hesitate, just ask me for those passes, and you can get on Azure. Just ask the Obtain data user. That's me. That's my other me.
So there was another question regarding the submission, I think. So if you can submit the Jupyter notebook per task as a valid submission.
Well, guys, correct me if I'm wrong, but I will say yes. We just require the code in a way that we can read it and run it. And if that's a Jupyter notebook or a Python script, I would say it doesn't matter. So we should accept that, right? One notebook per task. Oh, okay. Yeah, well, I mean, I guess same thing. You can create one notebook per task or one single notebook that does it all. I don't think it makes a difference.
Well, since this session was shorter, right that the session is finished, Valentin, or is there some further part coming?
Not for me. I'm here to answer questions, but the session is finished.
So then I would suggest that you can state now questions to the session, or if you have new questions to the task, you can also ask the questions here. So remember, you can just state a Q in the chat, and then I'm going to call your name and you can state your question. Alejandro, do you want to state your question yourself? Does your microphone work?
Yeah, you hear me?
Yes, we do.
So the input that I got from this demo is that I can basically work in the Azure ML, design one single notebook for each of the problems. Then I can submit it in a Git pull repo, and that would be a valid solution, right?
Yes, that's correct. That's a valid solution. You don't have to do it this way. It's just one possibility. If you prefer, you can work on your own laptop and create a Git repository there.
Do I also have to export some configurations that I use, like the requirement with the, for example, you show a Spacey, I have to create a requirement TXT with the package, and also with the environment, like the cloud environment, which CPUs I use or which computer cloud.
Ideally, you would include that, I guess, yeah, in your submission.
Yeah, you don't need to include which machine or which type of VM you use, but as Mark said, the requirements, if you could go ahead and export that before before handing it in, that would be great, because otherwise it's a bit difficult to run your code, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Try to make your code possible to be run from anywhere. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That were my question.
I received a question privately, and this person doesn't want to ask the question themselves. The question was if the voucher for this cloud computing service can be, if every participant can receive it, or if it's per team, and also if this voucher is expiring right after the hackathon, or how that works.
As far as I know, it's about 30 days. Microsoft can correct me if they are in the call. I think they are, Markus Gander is in the call, so correct me if not. 30 days for the Azure pass, I think, is valid. And then about the team. So ideally, one of your team opens the Azure subscription and then invites the other on the Microsoft Active Directory. Just Google for Azure, add another user or something like that. And then you will find tutorials for that on how to add your friends to the same subscription on Azure. It's not needed, and you can also not share code and stuff if you open multiple per team. So unless you have run into a problem where you used up all the $100, which may happen, then come back to us. But otherwise, just try to start with one subscription.
We'll clarify the question about the 30 days. We will post it in the Ask Microsoft channel on Slack.
Thanks a lot, Marcus.
There was another question from Masood.
Yep. My question is, should we follow the same cleaning approach as you did and the thresholding approach as you did, such that we would have comparable baselines, like, comparable results, what you have and what we would have?
You can absolutely start with that, but the idea is that you challenge it. So you can also start from ground up and try things out yourself. Don't get stuck with our baseline. Like, it's not that you have to start from there. You can start from your own version, basically. Or you can start from the baseline if you want, but feel free to really try out everything possible.
Yeah, fully agree, but maybe I couldn't communicate properly. To obtain comparable results, right? What the baselines already obtained and what we can obtain. Maybe, okay, it's relaxed and it's not fixed. This is what I understand, right? Like, it's not fixed. We can clean as we want. We can threshold as we wish.
Yes, that's part of the data scientist's job to figure out how to best pre-process and clean the data to get the best results. So you don't have to be comparable with the baseline. You actually try to beat the baseline. So clean and pre-process data, however you think is the best way.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
There's another question from Alejandro.
Yeah, do you hear me?
Yes.
Hear me? I was looking on the repo, your baseline, the top score that you got so far, if I am correct, is with the supervised support vector machine classifier is 0.70, 0.7. Is that correct?
Do we have Patrick or Steve to answer the baseline question?
I think Steve has uploaded the image with the box plots, but I think about 60 to 65% should be the right.
Yes, we even got a bit higher than 65 in the last run, if I'm not wrong. So we used the logistic regression classifier because it was earlier, it was distinctly better, but now the SVC would be a little bit better, perhaps. So what we run is logistic regression with around 65 or 0.65.
So that's the margin to beat, right?
Yes, that would be the margin to beat.
Okay. This was tested in the test reduce CSV file that we got.
It was tested likewise, but not with the exact same split. I could perhaps run this, Mark, or?
Yeah, otherwise, just refer to your teammates. I mean, we have a public leaderboard. So if the baseline was not exactly tested on that set, you can really refer to what is the best things that are coming up in the hackathon. Don't refer too much about the number of the baseline. Try to take the ideas from there and see what works best, I would say.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Great question. So there's 3 minutes left for this session. So any questions regarding Microsoft Azure or the task are still welcome.
Florian just answered the question concerning how long is the voucher valid, 30 days or $100 credit limit after activation. Whatever happens first, and you can convert it to a pay as you go
subscription.
The subscription afterwards. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Marcus.
I think there was a new question in the expert channel. There is a question from Amandresa. Hi, are we supposed to run the pipeline 2 preparation pie and pipeline 1 cleaning pie on our data, or is it already done?
It actually is already cleaned to a certain part. We needed to remove the signatures as far as we could because of those contain phone numbers and stuff. So that part of cleaning is done, and their HTML and the line breaks are removed, but otherwise it's not really cleaned more.
Thank you for your answer. So 1 more minute for questions to the session or to the task. So it's 3:45, so this session has officially ended. So we're gonna keep you posted about the get to know each other games before the dinner. So now it's time for you to try do your first start coding and try your first models. And see you for dinner.
See you.
See you guys.
See you.